Gerhard, it's nice to see you. Can we just begin with an update on Rob Atkinson, who went off with an injury on Sunday? What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, we do everything that he's back on the weekend. Right now he's not involved in the training, but first of all, and this is the most important things, everything good with the ligaments. Yeah, this was a little bit a wrong move, yeah, and in the end the bone kiss, yeah, special word. I hear it the first time. Yeah, I was also laughing. Yeah, but this was a bone kiss in the knee. I never hear it before, but so this is a little bit a bruise, and so I think when he can deal with the pain, yeah, then in a way that he can play, then looks good for the weekend.
Because that's very positive news. So in brief, was he taken off as a precaution more on Sunday? And did you fear the worst at the time? And are you pleased that you're talking about it potentially being available on Saturday?
Yeah, of course. I think right now with all the other players looks good for Rob also, and I think now we realize the first time a performance not on this level what we wanted, yeah, and also I would say in the end the outcome or output what is for us a little bit differently, yeah, like the other games, but we have to deal with that, and this is also I think a normal one in the world of football, that you have to deal in a good way with wins and victories and with good performances, but also when something go wrong, and I think we analyze it in the right way, the game, and right now we have to focus fully in the Saturday game.
Because the players got to have a post-match team talk off you for the first time in the league off a defeat. Were you any different after the game? And we spoke to Rob Dickey just there, who says you make sometimes him feel 10 feet tall. Did you almost have to go in and be positive when they perhaps went into the dressing room negative?
Yeah, I think we should find a good balance in moments like that, and I think it's always important, and I make not a difference, that we also speak about the content in a game, and not always everything is highly when we win and not everything is bad when we lose. I think we have to be very clear in our identity, and we are I think able to some speak about with higher critique in some directions, but I think we find a good balance immediately after the game, but also in this week to make the right, or to take the right learnings, and everyone's looking forward to a big game in Preston now, and I think this is the most important thing, that we let victories and defeats behind us. I think the championship, the games are so quick, and duration of games are so quick, so we have to find a good mindset for Saturday.
It's been noted that the 3 goals you conceded were all from set pieces. Did you, as a head coach, was that a concern? And what have you done this week to prevent such goals happening again?
Yeah, I think until this game it was great in set pieces against us. I think we was also in this direction in the table on top. How we did it, but in this game we was out of order and not happy. And this is something where we speak with the boys very clear, and also the players was not happy in this way with our behavior, how we built the structure. So in more directions we was on this day not ready. Yeah, but I think this is a small thing where we have to change, and then we have, of course, a different outcome.
And can I talk to you about your strikers? First of all, Emil, who we spoke to last week. There'll be some attention on him because he's playing his former side. How much have you enjoyed working with him, and what has he brought to Bristol City this season?
What he brought, he gave us, I think, in all directions, quality in front of the goal. Yeah? And he has a nose for goals, he has a score ability, he is a player, he also have good linked up moments. He has, I think, how he saved the balls, how he come in forward runs. So in more direction, he gives us a real good feeling, and always, I would say, the belief that we can score with him. I think this is also a very, very important part, what he gives us. And in the other direction, now we play against his former club, and for him it's special to move there. But I think he's, like every single player here, clear that we have to pick up the points there, and he's, I think, super motivated and also very focused, what I can see in the last few days.
And we spoke a lot about strikers in the summer. You threw Sinclair and Valley on towards the end to try and salvage the match. What's the motivation for them in the coming weeks? How do they go from being impact players and maybe coming on when you need a goal to playing a more significant role at Bristol City?
Yeah, I think that they have, of course, and we did the last few weeks many things with them, and we are very close on them, that we grow in some directions. They have at the moment not the game time normally what they want, but on the same time they must be very clear and very with a high determination on the field when they get the chance to show something. And in this way we prepare everything in this way, and we have a very good exchange with players. They have at the moment not so much game time that they can be for us very successful when they get the chance to play.
And Saturday might be an interesting game. I mean, so far City have entertained, there have been goals. Preston don't score many goals, but they don't concede many either, do they? Is that the biggest reason why they're currently level on points with you?
Yes, they are. I would say they are really good organised. I would say also with a very experienced coach. And of course they have also power in set pieces, and I would say also really good power, and they have transition players. They have, I would say, in both directions, speed, determination, and we have to be here, I would say, on the highest level. And it's a tough place in Preston. It's, I think, the atmosphere, everything there is a little bit special. I think we have to be on a really high level. Then I think it's more on us, how the game will end it.
Two more questions. You've named a fairly settled lineup so far in matches. Might that start to change as we have our first Tuesday game coming up? How important, how likely is squad rotation in the next few weeks?
Yes, I think this is important, and in this way, of course, we need every single player, that we have every single player available on a good fitness level, and I think the next few weeks could be games where we have to change a little bit, but now, and this was always my direction, to look on the next game and not so far away. So the next game makes the difference, and then we look in the next game. But of course, I think it's, especially in our style, how we want to play, it's important that we have a really good periodization, and we have in the end players on the field, they are fresh and ready for our playing identity, and rotation could help.
And I began by asking about Rob Atkinson, Max Bird missing last weekend. What's the news on his injury?
Yeah, we have not super good news about Max Bird. He has again an injury on his calf, and we have to look the next few days how everything will go. But right now he is not available on the weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Gerhard, is that? I know the weekend you hoped it was probably not as bad as the one he had in pre-season. Have you got any idea at the moment how severe Max's injury is?
We have, I would say we have to wait for the one or other specialist and looks a little bit deeper. But it looks at the moment not so good that he is back soon. I cannot say it's exactly the same what he had in the pre-season, but at the moment the situation looks not great, and we have to be patient. And I will give you an update when we have a clear diagnosis and a clear decision how long will take the injury.
On an emotional level, how is he? Because I know we only spoke to him a couple of weeks ago and he was saying how frustrated he was to not be involved in pre-season.
Yeah, super frustrated. He was so close right now, and we have so many conversations the last few days about that. So the frustration is super high. On the same time, it's sport, football is not always easy. Yeah? It's a bumpy street, a bumpy road where he has to go right now, and but we help him in all directions that he can come back so soon as possible. But the situation is for him right now not easy.
I guess it leaves you slightly light in the middle of the park with Jason and Adam in particular. How's Joe Williams' recovery going? Where's he at the moment?
Also in this way we have to be patient. I think he will need also more weeks that he is in the end on the field with everything what happened in the past with him, and I think in this way we have to wait. I think these are two big key players for us where we miss, but on the same time we have to deal with that, and that's sometimes the challenge when you have so many games, and of course also I would say players in a little bit the new identity.
I guess it's a positive that Jason and Adam have started the season so well. At least you've got two players that you can really rely on in there.
Yes, of course. I think Jason Knight and Adam Randall, they make a really good job at the moment, and they are super important for us. But we know how important is it to have on every position a really high competition, and without Max Bird and Joey Williams, it's not super.
Have you watched back Saturday's game? I'm sure you have. And if you did anything stand out on a second watch that maybe didn't at the first time? Is looking back at it seemed almost quite frustrating that you had the chances really early on to.
The feeling, the emotion or the own feeling get not better when you look back, but sometimes it's good to see it how quick we was in the end, or how close we was in the end to come in scorer moments. But this is sometimes in games you have to deal with that, and also sometimes you have to accept that this was a game. You find not always a clear description about everything, why that or why that. So I think we have to make a check, and the learning points, of course, are we can see how close is the championship, and every single opponent has some strengthness where we have to deal with, and I think of course when we realize chances like that, we should score, and then maybe the game looks in a completely different way. But this is always after a game you can speak so many things, but we was, I would say again, in both boxes we was not sharp enough on this game day, and this makes in the end the difference.
I guess from a head coach's position, you'd rather it be that case of fine tuning than like the system not working or like big errors. It's a case of just getting those important instances right instead.
Yes, of course. I think this is super important that we find here small adjustments. That what can we do in-game coaching, but also maybe that we are flexible and change in some moments also the system a little bit. So in this direction, we have to be flexible, elastic, to change in-game. Sometimes also the formation a little bit. I would say the referent points from the opponent is not so easy to find, and we give them more problems. So in this direction, we spoke and we analyzed the game, and we know and we learn a little bit more.
How has the reaction been on the training ground? As I think when we spoke to you post-match, you said the dressing room was quite deflated. Have you seen that reaction in training?
Yeah, I think the boys are... And this is so a good signal when a dressing room is after a defeat on this level where we are, and we were super frustrated, super disappointed. On the same time, I think this is also, and this speaks for the group here. So they can make a check, yeah. So and they learn, and they show me the last days a really good training. So I think it's always important that we are very able to criticize some things on a good way, but also make on the right time a check and looking forward what will come. And we have a really interesting game on Saturday.
What sort of test are you expecting from Preston? Because I think they've probably been a bit of a surprise package after last season, how well they've started. What do you expect from them?
I think it's a team. They play very direct with many long balls. I think they have also, I would say, players. A striker with a very powerful striker. I think they play with many layoffs, transitions, second balls. I think so. When you speak about championship, I would say this is a really good example of championship. Very direct, second ball fights, set pieces on a really high level. And of course they have a team. They are very good organized. So it's also in this direction very important for us that we find a good balance in our possession, and solutions, how we can break them down, but also in the same way that we have a really good organization in our rest defense, in our rest field. I think this is a game where we have to be in this direction on the highest level.
I guess you can feel quite prepared for that, because when you look at the teams you have faced so far, there's been a lot of teams, I think Oxford and Charlton in particular play, Derby as well, really similar way. How much can you take from those games and put into this? Yeah,
I think we can take something from them, but every single game is a little bit different. Also, when they play maybe in a same way, I think different players, different atmosphere. But of course, it's for us super important that we are in our possession game really good on this day, but that we cannot in this direct battles what they want from us. Yeah, so I think in more ways we have to be clear in our match plan, but also super brave and in our transitions, I think merciless. I think this is something where we have to show them, and also in the last game in the first half we have some transition moments and build-up moments where we break them down after 2, 3, 4 passes, and I think this is something where I want to see from my boys.
Rich mentioned the big week and the 3 games in quick succession. I know he's had his injury. When we spoke before the international break, you said about whether or not Rob Atkinson was quite at a position where he could play Saturday, Tuesday. He was left out of the cup games, wasn't he? Where is he at the moment? Is he somebody you think can play 3 games in a week, or do you have to be careful with him?
With which one?
Rob Atkinson.
Rob Atkinson, yeah. With Rob, we have of course a big trust in he can play more games in a row, but especially right now with his situation, with his injury, we have to look on him, that we lose him not on this busy way. And I would say now we have to look tomorrow how he grow with his injury, how is the pain, how he's ready to deal with that. But that he's important for us, especially with his aerial duel power, with his 1-1 power. I think it's very important that we have him on the field, but we have also really good replacements next to him, and when we give him sometimes a break, we can, I think, replace him on a good level.
Just finally for me, I think you said sometimes defeats you can learn more about your side at the weekend. Do you think you'll learn a lot from your side over the course of this next week with the 3 games? Do you think you'll have a better understanding of just where this group are after that?
Yeah, I think of course every situation gives us a little bit a learning curve, and hopefully with the right tempo in the right way. But what I see from the players is that they are with a high attention in the analysis moments, when we are outside on the field, when we try something, when we go in the match plan, when we try to do something, they are super focused, and also the leaders in the group, they I would say they support and the concept in a way that everyone knows what he has to do, and I think in this direction I feel really good and with the right feeling also for the next big task.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Gerhard, reflecting on the match, obviously take the result aside, were there still positives for you as head coach of City that day?
Yes, of course we had some I would say many positive moments in this game, how we break them down with high combination power, and the boys feel that, and I can see it also today in the training how they combinate it. Sometimes you can see the quality in this way, but also the game show us in some moments how difficult can be it against us when we play so quick, so vertical, so with this speed, and also with our setting, how we come in forward runs, how we have different moves, how we interpret the chaos from the opponent in a really good way. I think this is something where we can take, and of course this was also in these games really good things.
Now, on that, when you were 2-0 down in that match, obviously some of the atmosphere inside the stadium maybe wasn't as good as when it went 2-1. What's your message to supporters about where you are this season, and also the stage we are in the season, but the kind of performances that your team has put in as well?
Yeah, but in the end, we cannot expect that we drive every single opponent immediately down in our home stadium. I would wish that, but I think the reality shows us how hard it is to be in every game, always very quick, on the right level, to bring them under pressure. And I think this game shows us how quick things can change. And I know the expectation is high here, and this is has to do, of course, with the last season, and also our start was sexy, and so everyone knows and realize right now, this could be a really good season. So in this way, we know the expectation and the wishes from the fans. I would like in the end always that we are close together in all these moments, and when we look back the last season about the clubs they are promoted or they have in the end a really good season, then they have also phases in a season that they struggle a little bit. And I think these are so the moments in a relationship. How big is it? And when everything is only nice when we win 3 or 4-0, and when we would have sometimes a little bit the topic with a result or also with a performance, I think in this direction we need always a good mood, a good atmosphere, a very positive, optimistic fan base. They push us and they believe in us. And I think the boys try in the second half everything. This was a game day with a little bit the X factor, and you have to accept this sometimes. Not too often, sometimes. We have to deal with that, and that's it.
Now, in the short time we've known each other, I wouldn't say you're someone who looks for excuses, but playing on the Sunday, did that have any impact, do you think? Because obviously your team knows where the table is, they know what other teams around them have done, and whilst it is early, you are at the right end of the table.
Yeah, psychological wise, it could be too much thoughts in the brain, what could happen maybe, and I'm not sure, I don't know, but on the same time, I can also not say, this has not an influence or something. So I think what I see from the boys is they are super focused in our in our way, how we can control something, how we have influence. This is the last few weeks in many games and in every single training, I would say, is I can see the big focus in the here and now, that we produced something what help us. But of course, you have side effects in a championship season. Yeah, this could be a small side effect. This can be something. Or I think in all directions we have to deal and be focused in a direction what we have influence. And I would say many players, well, yeah, they are ready for that mental wise.
Now, moving to an issue slightly off the pitch at the moment. In the last week or so, we've obviously seen investment, a takeover of the women's team. Now, there's a lot of speculation and rumours now surrounding the men's team as well. Fans on the forum even today discussing it. How does talk of a potential takeover make you feel as head coach?
I would say of course, I know in the medias and some rumors are around, but I would say the rumors or something, this affects me zero. This is, I would say, in the last few years, a normal one that owners coming, going. Yeah, and I can only say I have a really good relationship with my owner, with Steve, and I don't know what's going on in the next few years with this club, but I feel at the moment really good with my owner.
Looking ahead to this weekend, the result against Preston last season was arguably one of the best performances of Bristol City's campaign. Do you look back on that at all? Obviously, you weren't head coach then, but at sort of little nuances and things you can take from it?
Yeah, I watched also the one or other moment from this game, and this was, I would say, with a little bit different players. Yeah, they have many different players on the field from the last to this season. I would say, quality-wise, they are growing. Yeah, and in this direction, yeah, I could see the one or other thing what helps the team, but this was of course also there was very clear in possession in the last game there, and yeah, I think in this way we should do it result wise. I would have no problem when we go in the same way.